If you are looking to release some built up tension in the hips, then you have come to the right place. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Dominique, and today I will be guiding you through a deep yoga stretch in which we will focus on the hips. No props are required for this practice. However, you are welcome to use whatever props you would normally use whenever you are going to do some deep hip openers. We will get started on our back. So once you have your yoga mat rolled out, you'll turn towards the front of the mat with the feet planted, knees bent, and glutes on the mat. You can take your hands to the back of the thighs, tuck the chin to the chest, round through the back, and walk yourself down. Once you arrive, you'll start to walk the feet in a little bit closer to the glutes, and then walk the feet to the width of the mat. Allow the knees to knock in for a broken bridge. We'll start with a little bit of breath work to center and to notice where we are in space. For the breath work, you can keep the arms alongside the body, or you can bring them to the navel space. And then allow the gaze to soften. Perhaps the eyes close as you bring your awareness to the breath. Notice the inhales and the exhales, the length and the depth. Then see what you can change to start to lengthen the breath. What can you alter to deepen the inhales and the exhales? And each time you inhale, filling the navel space completely. And as you exhale, empty as much of the breath as you can. Each time you breathe, imagine that you are filling up a balloon with the inhales and emptying the balloon with the exhales. That imagery of the balloon should help you cultivate 360 breathing. And then we have a few more rounds of breath here without changing anything, keeping with the imagery and the instructions that I just gave. And then wherever you are in your breath cycle, empty the breath completely. Together we inhale through the nose. Open mouth, sigh, release. Again, inhale through the nose. Open mouth, sigh, release. Last one, inhale. Exhale, let that go. Find your ujjayi breath, restriction of the back of the throat. If the eyes are closed, begin to flutter them open. Knees will come away from one another and start to heel toe the feet so they're in line with the hips. Remove the hands from the navel space if they found their way there. Arms will come alongside the body. And then you'll start to bring one knee into the chest and the other, and then the hands will wrap around the legs. Start to rock left and right. And then perhaps you start to get into the hips by rotating the knees and starting to bring the synovial fluid. And once you've had enough of the rock left and right, you'll find stillness and you'll start to bring the knees wide into a supine child's pose, and then circle with the knees to start to get into the hips. You can move in one direction and the other. The knees can move in the same direction or different directions, whatever works for you right now. Very gentle here, getting into the hip joints. And then the knees will come back into the chest. Both feet will plant once more. This time, left foot stays planted, right knee into the chest. Give it a squeeze. And we move into a reclined pigeon, first passing through a figure 4 shape. Then when you're ready, lift the left foot off the earth, hands interlace behind the left leg, and start to rock left and right. And if the rocking doesn't resonate with you, you can stay in stillness. We'll breathe here as we stretch through the outer right hip into the right glute. Sometimes people even feel this in the hamstring, the inner thigh. 2 more full rounds of breath. And we'll slowly release the grip of the hands, left foot to the earth, right knee into the chest, then extend your right leg so that the foot is up towards the ceiling. Flex through the foot here. Open up through the back of your right leg. See if you can pull the leg a little bit closer towards the body. Perhaps the hands walk up towards the calf. Then you can release the flexion into a point of the foot if you would like to get into the front of the leg, your choice. And then eventually the knee comes back in towards the chest. We'll extend our left leg long, bring this into a supine twist as the right knee comes to the left, gaze goes to the right, right arm opens up. Breathe here. Deep inhales and exhales. You can even imagine that balloon just like we did in our breath work. Two more deep rounds of breath. And then slowly start to release the twist. Right knee into the chest, left knee into the chest. Give it a squeeze. Find that reclined child's pose again. Perhaps this is a little bit of a deeper expression, and then move through the hips. Again, both of the legs can move in the same direction or opposite directions, whichever works best for you. Then eventually the feet will plant again. This time our right foot stays planted. Left knee into the chest, give it a squeeze. Then we pass through our figure 4 shape as we come into reclined pigeon. Our right foot will lift off the earth, hands interlaced behind right leg. And then again, you can stay static or you can rock left and right. This time, the left side is opening outside of left hip, left glute, perhaps inner left thigh and left hamstring. We have a few more rounds of breath here. Equal and opposite energy between the legs to help stretch left side. Right foot lowers towards the earth, left knee into the chest, give it a squeeze and extend your left foot up towards the ceiling. Flex through the foot, find a length all through the back of left leg. If you would like, you can start to walk your hands up towards the calf as you bring the leg closer towards the face. Then you can start to flex through the foot if you would like to get into the front of the leg. Perhaps the leg starts to make its way a little bit closer towards the body. Another couple of rounds of breath here. Then eventually you'll bend through your left knee comes into the chest, extend your right leg long, then find a supine twist on this side. Left knee over towards the right, gazes to the left, left arm opens up. Deep inhales and exhales. Again, you can invite in the imagery of the balloon filling up with the inhales and completely deflating with the exhales. A couple more rounds of breath here. Then go ahead and begin to release the twist. Left knee into the chest, give it a squeeze. Right knee into the chest, give it a squeeze. Then you'll bring your hands to the back of the legs and start to rock forward and back like a ball. Then eventually you'll make your way up into a seated position and we'll move into a fire log pose. So you'll go ahead and scoot your way into the middle of the mat. Left leg will be on bottom, right leg will come on top. If you have props, this is a perfect place to use props. If your knee is elevated, you can place either a bolster, a block, or blankets underneath your right leg to keep it supported. If this is too intense for you, you can always come into a simple cross-legged position with your left leg in front of your right. So once you find the positioning that feels best for you and supports your body in the best way, you'll find integrity through the spine. Then start to hinge forward. For this expression, we will walk our arms wide and then begin to drop the head down towards the earth and tuck the chin to the chest. So in this expression, not only are we stretching through the hip, particularly the right side, but we're also stretching through the back. And then keep breathing here. Perhaps you bring the palms all the way down to the earth. And feel the stretch all the way up through the upper back and between the shoulder blades and the back of the shoulders. Continue to breathe here. Perhaps with each exhale, you come a little bit deeper into the fold. We have a few more rounds of breath. And then if you would like a little bit more, start to walk both of the hands off to the left side of the mat. This time the arms will come closer together, and perhaps the forearms even make their way down to the earth. If this is too much for you, you can always back out and go into that other expression that we were in. With each exhale, perhaps finding a little bit more length and space. Two more full rounds. And slowly begin to bring yourself back to center. This time the arms will extend out forward, round through the back. Really press the palms into the earth if you can, or if you have props, you can bring blocks underneath the hands. Create space and length, equal and opposite energy as you press down into the mat or the blocks. You're also pulling back to find length all through the spine. And then slowly release, perhaps forearms come to the earth. And then eventually you'll start to walk your way up. Take a moment here with the body upright, and then you'll release the legs out in front of you. You can remove any flesh for sit bones to come to the earth, flex through the feet, then start to walk yourself down for a seated forward fold. Hands can come to the feet if they can reach, and continue to breathe here as we stretch through the posterior chain. Tuck the chin to the chest. That might help you find a little bit more release through the upper back, the neck, the traps, in between the shoulder blades. And then perhaps you invite some equal and opposite energy in if your hands are pressed against the feet. If so, you'll press your hands into feet, feet into hands to find a little bit more of a stretch. And if you don't like that, you can always release and let that go. Really allowing gravity to assist us here.
Perhaps with each exhale, you find a little bit more length and space. You can always adjust the placement of the hands if you would like. Sometimes I like to crack my toes, give myself a little foot massage. Just really attend to yourself. Give it some love and care here. We have a few more rounds of breath. Deep inhales and exhales. And you'll slowly start to make your way up. And then we'll switch to the other side. So same that you chose on the other side, whether it's a cross-legged position with left leg in front this time, or stack the legs. If you need, go ahead and invite some props in for you under your left knee. And then once you find the proper positioning and the position that will allow you the most support today, integrity through the spine, hinge forward, walk the arms wide again. Continue to breathe here. If you have the palms on the earth, really press the palms down to create space through the shoulder blades. So we're doing a lot here again, stretching through the left side hip and glute, but also trying to get into the upper body. You can play around with the width of your arms. Sometimes it feels better if you bring them out closer to being in line with the knees. Sometimes if you bring more of like a W shape, that feels better. You can play around, see what feels good. At the same time, we're melting into the hip. And we have a few more breaths before we add on. You're welcome to stay here in the fold over the legs towards the front of the mat. If you would like a little bit more, you'll start to walk the hands off towards the right. This time the arms and hands will be closer together. And allow yourself to really fold and sink into the pose, perhaps so much so that the forearms start to come to the earth. Allow the body to guide you. Listen to the cues from the body. We have a few more rounds of breath here before we walk it back to the front. Deep inhales and exhales. And if your forearms are on the earth, start to extend through the arms so the palms come to the mat. And then we walk the palms back in front of us and fold over the legs once again. Again, you can really press the palms into the blocks or to the earth. Equal and opposite energy. Really stretch through the spine. Couple of more rounds of breath here. And then begin to walk your way back up. This time we will bring the soles of the feet together for a butterfly shape. And then begin to round through the back. Same thing with the arms that we did before in our fire log pose. Try to bring the palms down to the mat. Separate between the shoulder blades and tuck the chin to the chest. This might feel a little bit more intense than it did in your fire log pose. Know that you can always walk yourself up and come out of it if you need. And then I invite you to close your eyes here. See how much you can really connect to the breath and connect to the body. take any little adjustments that you need as you find a little bit more length and space. We have about 5 more full, deep rounds of breath here. And then if you would like, I invite you to take a round of cleansing breath with a big inhale through the nose and an open mouth sigh. Then begin to walk yourself back up.
You can use your hands to bring the legs closer together. Then you'll cross at the ankles, roll over the feet, make your way into a tabletop. Legs will be close together, and then go ahead and sit back into a child's pose. And stretch all through the spine. Press the palms into the mat to create length and space all through the spine. The hips pull back towards the heels. One more full round of breath here. Then begin to lift yourself up into all fours. You'll start to walk your left knee back and then walk your right leg forward for a pigeon pose. Then once you've found the positioning with your right leg, start to deepen the pose as you walk your right leg back into a straight position. If your right glute is really lifted, this is a great place to insert some props. Otherwise, you'll just go ahead and fold over in your pigeon pose. Continue to breathe here. We spent some time preparing for this pose, first with our reclined pigeon, and then with our fold and fire log. And allow yourself to really sink into the posture here. And at any time, if you feel like you can go a little bit deeper and you're already all the way down to the floor, see if you can bring your shin closer to parallel to the top of the mat. That's always a really good adjustment if you're already laying flat. If you're not laying flat, then simply just making your way closer down towards the earth will be a nice deepening for you. Again, don't push yourself too hard. Go to your edge, but don't go past it. This is supposed to be a practice to help us restore, so we want to do what we can to avoid injury. A few more deep breaths here. And then very slowly start to make your way up. If you have any props underneath your right hip or right glute, go ahead and remove them. And then we all roll over onto our right hip as we bring our left leg up and out. So it's going to be angled towards the left side of the mat. We start to rotate our chest so that our chest is framing the left leg. And then go ahead and fold over your left leg. Take your time here as you stretch and breathe. And if you would like a little bit more, you can bring your right hand to the blade of left foot and then walk left hand back for a little bit of a deeper twist. This will get more into the right lower back, your QL muscle, if you will. And breathe. And again, you can always adjust as you need. Do what feels best for you and your body today. If you chose the variation to walk your left hand back,
You can go ahead and bring it back to the foot. We'll all meet with the hand by the foot. And then see if you can start to rotate open. So you'll bring your left hand inside of your left foot, so it'll come to the arch. And then you start to stack the shoulders as your right arm comes overhead. Continue to breathe here. One more full round of breath. Then we'll slowly release and come up. Right hand comes behind us. Lift your hips to the sky here. Left arm extends. And then we'll slowly start to lower ourselves back down. Then we'll go ahead and rotate our left leg back and bring our way back into a tabletop. This time we'll bring the knees wide for our child's pose. Big toes touch, sit back towards the heels. Allow the forehead, chest, and or chin down to the mat. We won't be here long, just a few rounds of breath. Last one. Then go ahead and press your way up into a tabletop. We'll move into a pigeon on the other side. So slightly walk your right leg back just to create space for left leg to come through. Then you'll bring your left leg through, then start to walk your right leg back. Again, invite in any yoga props that you need to support you here. Whenever you are ready, start to make your way down towards the mat. As we know, each side is not the same, so it might feel a little bit different on this side, and that's okay. Just honor it. And every day is different, so sometimes we can go deeper than others, and honor that as well. So again, we have the same options on this side. If you want to go a little bit deeper and you're farther away from the mat, simply just walking yourself down closer towards the mat and bringing the chest closer to the mat will help you. If your chest is already on the mat, then you can go ahead and try to adjust your leg to come closer to parallel to the top of the mat and then sinking into that. You have a few more rounds of breath here. And then very slowly begin to walk yourself up. If you have props underneath your left hip or left glute, go ahead and remove them. Then we roll over onto the left glute, swing the right leg around. The left foot comes inside of right leg. Start to rotate the torso so you frame your right leg. Then when you're ready, walk your way down into head to knee pose. Continue to breathe here. Finding a little bit more length and space with each exhale. Again, just like we did on the other side, you can always bring your left hand to the blade of right foot and walk your right hand back for a deeper stretch and a little bit of a twist. If you tried this expression on for size and it's not really resonating with you, you can always bring your right hand back to the foot and just bring both of your hands to the foot or as close to the foot as they can get. We have a few more rounds of breath here before we go into that other variation with the open shoulders. So if you have your right hand back towards the back of the mat, go ahead and walk it to the blade of your foot, and then you'll go ahead and bring both of the hands towards the feet or as close to the feet as they can get. Then when you're ready, start to rotate open. Left hand will start to come overhead. Right hand comes to the arch of right foot.
Try to stack the shoulders here with left arm overhead. Stretch all through left side body. We have a few more rounds of breath here. Then to release, we'll bring the left hand behind us, lift the hips, right arm extends long. And then we make our way back down to the earth. We'll come into a straddle, so both legs will be out this time. Adjust as you need. And then go ahead and start to fold over the inside of the legs. For this expression, we will bring the hands underneath the legs, so the weight will help create space between the upper back and the shoulder blades as you start to tuck the chin to the chest. Continue to breathe here. And if this expression doesn't really resonate with you, you can always go into more of a traditional straddle if you would like. We'll stay here for about a total of 10 rounds of breath. So allow yourself to sink into the posture. You can even start to wiggle the chin left and right. Notice if you're keeping any tension in the face and the jaw. If so, let it go. With each exhale, perhaps you go a little bit deeper. We have a few more rounds of breath here. And then if you have the hands underneath the calves, just go ahead and remove them. We meet in more of a traditional straddle. Then slowly start to walk yourself up. Hands will come to the outside of the legs, bend through the knees as you plant the feet. And from here, we'll start to make our way onto our back for our final shavasana pose. So go ahead, round through the back. Roll yourself down onto the earth, extend one leg and then the other, arms come alongside the body. Take any wiggles or adjustments that you need to find your final resting pose. Then allow your eyes to close. If you haven't already done so, let go of your Ujjayi breath and find a natural cadence with the breath. If you would like to take an extended Shavasana pose, know that you can pause the video and remain here for as long as you'd like. Otherwise, we will take about 10 more rounds of breath. Then as we bring awareness back to the body, take an inhale through the nose and an exhale out the mouth. Quick scan of the body, starting at the crown of the head and moving down through the face, the neck, shoulders, arms, torso, pelvis, legs, and feet. Then start to find movement through the toes, the fingers, the wrists, and the ankles. Then bring the inner ankles together, arms extend overhead, full body stretch. Point through the toes, allow the low back to lift, then release. We'll bring the knees into the chest for a final squeeze in this practice. You can rock left and right if you would like.
And then if fetal pose calls to you, you can make your way there. Otherwise, just rock or press your way up into a seated position to close out practice. As you arrive in your seat, you'll find a simple cross-legged position. Pray your hands to chest, Anjali Mudra, thumbs pressed to the heart space. Bow your head, take a moment to offer gratitude to yourself and to the practice. Thank you so much for tuning in and flowing with me today. If you enjoyed this flow, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I will see you next time. Thank you.